All right, so if you're watching this video, your feed is probably flooded with videos about the new Fuji X100 Mark VI. And when it comes to Fuji cameras, they have a cult following. But I want you guys to put that aside and we got to figure some stuff out. Is the X100 Mark VI really an upgrade or is it just a cash grab? Who's it for? What did they actually change? And is there a better alternative? Because this thing is sitting at $1,600, which is sticker shock. Especially if you're like me and you've been using Fuji cameras for years. Fuji kind of had a mission of being the poor man's Leica, and now they're taxing all of us. So let's figure out what's really up with the new X100 Mark VI. And again, stay tuned to the end of the video so I can give you those alternatives. So I can probably save you some money. So most reviewers are leaving the price till the middle of the video. I'm going to give it to you straight up. It's $1,600, and that's a lot of money for essentially a point and shoot camera. Now it is like the holy grail glorified point and shoot camera. So let's run through those specs and what you get for that $1,600. Essentially what they did is that they took an X-T5's guts, the internals, and shoved it into an X100 body, and that's what we got with the Mark VI. I keep saying Mark VI. I know it's X100 with the Roman numerals, but Mark VI is just easier to say. So in no particular order, we're getting an updated sensor of 40 megapixels, so better resolution, a 4-stop ND, which is actually really useful when you think about it, especially if you're shooting outdoors. You don't really have to buy an ND filter now. 6K video with 10-bit. They also have the 422. They gave us IBIS in the body. Now that's an interesting addition because of course IBIS is more useful for video, but they kind of crippled the camera in some other ways, which I'll talk about in a second. You've got a new film simulation that's borrowed from the GFX line. It's got AI auto white balance. Everything has to have AI now. And because you're at 40 megapixels, you can shoot at 35, 50, and 70 millimeter equivalents. So let's recap. Those are some nice improvements, but realistically, they're not making the product any better. The X100 Mark V was already a great camera. The things they kept the same was the USB-C port, the 2.5 millimeter headphone jack, which is awful, especially because they have notoriously bad preamps. The EVF resolution is the same as well. And then the lens is the same too, that 23 millimeter, 35 millimeter equivalent f2 lens. So we got to answer the question, is this an upgrade or a cash grab? It's honestly really a cash grab of a camera. And the reason why Fuji's releasing this incremental update is because it's its 90th anniversary and they've got a limited edition version that they're shilling to us. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it really is the X-T5 guts. They just had these parts laying around. Now, of course, there's an appeal to have a nice compact camera that you can use to take nice images. And it really comes down to us superimposing the idea that we need a no stress camera. But do you need another no stress camera for $1,600? The truth is that Fuji has strayed from the path of offering nice budget cameras, and now they're offering this premium luxury item that's really competing with like the Leica Q. And to be honest, as a longtime Fuji user, I feel like they're alienating their core audience, especially when they could be selling something that's a little bit more affordable to the average consumer, just to get more things in people's pockets. Because even though I like Fuji and you like Fuji, you're watching this video, the average person doesn't really know how great Fuji is. Now, it's interesting that they added IBIS to this camera. I don't know why they did it. I think it's just because they want to justify that price point, because the truth is that a lot of people are using their cameras for video now, and I know that this camera is not designed for somebody who wants to take self content, but the fact that the screen doesn't even flip up so you can see yourself in 2024 is going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people, especially because they could have easily implemented that hinge design to make it face you, kind of like the XA7, which is a nice camera. Don't go looking on eBay for it because you're going to raise the prices of it, and I still haven't picked one up. This camera really is for the photography nerd that wants to just show off their camera at a photo meetup and kind of flex on everybody. But the truth is that nobody's going to be able to tell that you have the Mark VI versus the Mark V. To be completely honest with you, the reason I'm making this video is because you can get any iteration of the X100 and be happy with that. So against my better judgment, I'm going to share some better alternatives for you, even though this is going to skyrocket the price of the Fujis anyway. And these recommendations are for people who want to have a nice compact camera to capture memories, no stress, just great Fuji colors. Not so much for video, because again, you're not getting IBIS in any of these old models, but you're also not spending an extra $1,000 on this either. So first up, obviously, is going to be a Fuji X100. Literally any old Fuji X100 model. If you can find it locally on like OfferUp or Mercari or Facebook Marketplace, you can get a really good price on these. Also, you can check websites like KEH for some discounted versions as well. Next up is going to be the X70. The Fuji X70 is an amazing travel camera. It's a little dated, but again, you're not buying this for super fast autofocus and crazy video. You're buying it to capture memories in a nice pocketable package. That being said, another sleeper camera that I didn't know existed for a long time is the Fuji XF10. This is like the gold standard for pocketable Fuji cameras. It is small, it is lightweight, it is discreet, and is honestly like a flex if you can find this camera, which is super difficult to do. There's also some random models like the Fuji X10, X20, and X30. All these cameras have fixed lenses, but this one actually has a zoom range if you want that. And last but not least, if you want to spend some more money or if you can find them for a good price, Fuji's got some old models like the Fuji XM1. the Fuji Xe1 and Xe2S, and some really old Fuji XA models. Now these don't come with a lens. You'd have to buy a lens separately, and when it comes to that, I recommend you get the Fuji 18mm f2 lens. This is an amazing lens. It gives you a beautiful depth of field and it's nice and wide. Once you multiply that 18mm by 1.5, you get a 27mm focal length, and that's honestly the perfect street photography lens or vacation lens. So yeah, let's recap. When it comes to Fuji, the new X100 Mark VI is a huge cash grab. I recommend you try to find something used, one of those old models I listed previously. Save yourself some money. Don't fall into the trap of buying gear that you don't need just because it looks cool. To be 1000% honest with you, 90% of people would rather take photos on their iPhone with a nice camera app because it's just easy to share and process. I understand the tactility of the controls that like sound good and feel good. It's an experience thing, but we can't keep letting companies manipulate us into spending money that we don't need to spend. That being said, stay tuned. I had plans to pick up an old Fuji camera anyway. I was going to make some cool videos about taking self-content on them, one with a flip out screen like this. I just really think that Fuji has an amazing color science, and creating content on that thing would be super cinematic. Kind of like Volandes does. He's an avid Fuji user. And I think this guy named Logan Robles or something like that. Guy's a creator, lives in LA. He also started shooting Fuji. So yeah, if you want to buy one of these used, jump on that now. I hope that helped you in your buying decision. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out other videos on my channel about photography. If you're curious about buying a new camera, I've got 2 guides, maybe 3, about the best cameras you can buy in 2024. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.